It's all because of Jesus, he the reason I'm alive. I live by faith, by grace, you know that I ain't gotta strive. They told me, tone it down.
Yo, yo, yo. What up, guys? It's the Great Gatsby and Qui-Gon Jinn. Welcome to the boat parade. Not for real, this is Jared. I'm Ryan. You guys know us here to talk about all things Tampa Bay sports.
That's it. That's what we're here to do.
And there's a lot to talk about.
A lot going on right now. But first up, we're going to talk about the Lightning versus the Maple Leafs series as a whole.
Wow.
What a series.
Yeah, I did not have, I'm just being honest, okay? Part of doing this is honesty, transparency. I'm like a fishbowl. I did not have full confidence in us based on the regular season performances of these two teams, being a Lightning fan. And then we'll talk about this in a minute, but it progressively snowballed to make me more uncomfortable till, for me, the climax was at Game 6, actually, which we were actually at that game.
Why were you calm after Game 6?
Because I knew that if the Lightning were willing to put in the effort they put in and the performance they put in Game 6 with the overtime win, I knew that we had this the way that we play to get a 1-point lead is all we need, right? There's a real cool catchphrase. And I knew that Game 7, we have a lot more experience playing in Game 7s in the playoffs and winning, right? Which Toronto doesn't.
I think Toronto's now they're like 0-8 in
0-9.
0-9 in season clinching or series clinching games.
It's like probably one of the stats you don't want the most in sports.
You know, I'll say this because they haven't won a playoff series since 2004. They haven't won a Stanley Cup since 1967. But since 2004, there's been lots of opportunities for them to win. They've just choked a lot and gotten embarrassed a lot. I feel like this is the first playoff series that they didn't have that happen. They just got beat.
Well, and you saw that with an explosive Game 1 from them when the series started.
5-0.
So it was the worst Lightning shutout in playoff history as a franchise.
That was a tough game to watch.
It was a tough game. I actually didn't watch the game, and it continued to get worse. I think it was 2-0, and I was like, I'm not gonna watch. And then, but when I woke up, it was 5-0, and I said, well, I'm glad I didn't. So when that game came out, it's interesting because a lot of people judge a series. A lot of immature hockey fans judge a series by the first game, and you'll see them get emotional when they respond. But we knew better than that. And so Game 1 was rough to watch, but then you start to see the Bolts kind of settle into the series as they learn the Maple Leafs.
Because the Maple Leafs throughout the whole series, they played very fast and very beautiful
Smooth.
to watch.
Oh, my.
It was very pretty hockey, and they were executing in that.
What is that?
There was gliding along and making.
That's a maple leaf falling to the ground right there.
Do you know why they're called the Maple Leafs?
Because there's maple syrup in Canada.
That's not the reason. It has to do with the original owner being in World War I, and he wore a thing on his shirt for the Canadian military, and it was in the shape of a maple leaf.
I can't believe you told me that. Now I'm going to feel bad when I crack incessant
That's the
jokes
reason
for the
why
next year.
it looks grammatically incorrect for it to be L-E-A-F-S plural, but that's actually the correct because it's a proper noun of the badge being plural.
Wow.
Instead of leaves with a V.
Fun fact.
Fun fact.
Anyway, it was a rough first game. We go into Game 2.
They went back and forth the whole series.
Back and forth. They actually did. They went back and forth the whole series until Game 6 and 7. And so we won 5-3 in the second game. It was a good game.
Then the Leafs come back, win 5-2, Game 3. Game 4, Lightning win 7-3.
It was a great game.
Game 5, the Leafs win 4-3. So at this point, I'm kind of nervous because now
that's when I got nervous.
We have to go back to back. We do have a home game, which is the game that we went to. We were at Game 6.
We were at Game 6.
And they went to overtime. My blood pressure when we went to overtime,
180 over 100.
I'm not a nurse, so I don't know if that's
actually
a
know
good
what
thing
that means.
or not.
Yeah, I don't know what that
standard,
means.
like 120 over 60?
I figured
No way that's
180
correct.
over 100 is bad.
Probably. That's what mine was, probably. I was nervous.
I kept grabbing your leg, which I am married, just so everybody knows, but I kept grabbing his leg, and I'd freak out, and then I'd be like, oh, sorry, bro, my bad. Oh, sorry, bro, my bad. Oh, I'm sorry.
And then Braden
wild.
Point scored, and then it was electric.
In overtime,
and the place went absolutely bananas.
it was
wild.
banana splitting, and we had other friends at the games. We're like waving at them across from the stadium, and it was amazing. It was the most electric. You know, I have a friend of mine who had season tickets for the Bolts, and he told me that now it's difficult for him to watch or go to regular season games because the atmosphere feels so dead compared to the playoffs. And I remember at the time I hadn't been to a playoff game, and I was like, yeah, whatever, bro. Regular season games are lit. After experiencing what we experienced at Game 6 against the Maple Leafs, and then we'll get to go to a Panthers game this series, I understand what he meant. I'm still going to enjoy some regular season games, but wow, bro, to see a packed-out stadium, a rival team, to play 2 series back-to-back with our second worst rival, maybe our number 1 rival now in the league, then to play our in-state rival next. I mean, these are such great games.
And the hockey itself is like this. Everybody is just playing 120 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And then you get a weird bounce, and then now you try to put in the goal. It's just fast, let's kill each other hockey.
Yeah, there's a lot of aggression, and then those two teams, and this was, we'll stick with the Leafs. So what the Leafs did, if you guys watched the series, the Leafs started cutting off our passing lanes a lot. That was
specifically the D-to-D pass.
The D-to-D pass was cut off a lot, and it ended up with a lot of 2-on-1s, a lot of goals. That's what happened in Game 1. There was a lot of that, and then they played it's like an unwritten rule maybe in the regular season, but in the playoffs it's whatever. But they caught us in the change a lot. And because they're such a fast team as the Panthers are, and we used to be this way, we used to be just an offensive team, because they are the way they are, they're so fast that when we would fly the puck, get a change, they'd be already down the ice before our guys could get off the bench and onto the ice to play defense, and now they have a 3-on-1 easy scoring opportunity, even with Vasilevsky. So,
especially because the whole series, it looked like our whole team was tired or something. They played so slow in comparison, but because of the style that they were playing, and it was incredibly, number one, boring to watch.
It was terrible.
But also tough to watch because they just would do dump and chase 85 million times in a row.
Well, and dump and chase is such an interesting strategy because as I was reflecting on this series before tonight, I actually acknowledged dump and chase was an important part of us beating the Maple Leafs. And it's frustrating that that's the reality because you hate seeing that because the Lightning – they almost play like a lightning bolt. It's a quick pass, another quick pass, and a shot. Everybody loves to see that. Love to see a great, nasty one-timer.
Unless they're on the power play. Then they pass and don't shoot, which is frustrating.
Yeah, looking for the perfect shot on the power play. But we're normally a very, very quick offensive team. But I think Coop is so well at adapting to teams in the playoffs with the experience that we have, obviously, back-to-back. He knew going into this series, and I think you'll see it again with the Panthers, that because they're so quick, and I think they're a better team when it comes to predicting passes, they had so many opportunities in cutting off a pass. And I think Game 1 was him testing that. Are we going to run a dump and chase the whole series? Okay, well, let's not. Let's see how the game goes. 5-0. Okay, we're going to have to play this a little bit different.
Yeah, for sure.
And so we did, and a lot of those dump and chases end up in nothing, but it's more important. It weighs in the balance of the scoring opportunities, but the safety you have in a dump and chase versus the risk of trying to run your normal regular season offense. It happened to work out for us. It was a risky thing against a team that's so all around good like the Maple Leafs, but it paid off with a Game 7 overtime point.
Right. So I want to just go over some quick stats and then explain them real quick. So the top scorers for the Lightning on the stat sheet were Kucherov had 2 goals and 6 assists.
Hurrah.
That was pretty good. He says it a little bit more rough, but that was good.
Well, I didn't want to like, hurrah. That
was accurate.
Yeah.
Hetty had 2 goals, 5 assists. Colton had 3 goals, 2 assists. Stamkos, 2 goals, 2 assists. And Point, 3 goals, 2 assists.
Yeah.
So those numbers in and of themselves aren't very impressive besides Cooch having 8 total points for the series in 7 games, which is pretty good. But the Lightning have done a really good job of spreading the wealth across their guys.
Yeah.
Meaning, I keep on mentioning this, that in the playoff series, star players pretty much cancel each other out.
Yeah.
And then it really comes down to the third and fourth line, who's going to play really good.
And a couple key defensemen, because I think defensemen don't necessarily cancel each other out if they have some offensive value. Because you have defensemen who are really good on one side of the puck and not the other.
Heddy made some incredible plays where they would have a breakaway, and then he would cut him off on the backside and only allow him one side that Vasi could then be able to block.
Yeah, Vasi and Hedman may actually be the like best duo on the defensive side of the puck in the league.
Incredible. So the reason why I mentioned those stats is because the Lightning had 13 different players score goals during the first round. It was the most across the NHL playoffs.
Yeah, well, that shows that
it's depth. It's having guys with experience on your team that have been there before.
That's right.
That know how to show up in the key moments. That's what the Lightning have always been. We're going to play good defensive hockey in the playoffs, and we're going to
recently always been
right in the past several years. And then we're going to take what's given to us. You know, if Stammer and Kuch are being locked down, then Colton comes up and he's showing up. That's why Palat has so many career playoff goals because he's been the guy over the past couple of years. 40, right? Second most
in franchise history.
Franchise history.
Well, I think like there were a lot of key guys in this playoff series that really stood out to me. The number one guy, no question about it, was Nick Paul. When we made the trade for Nick Paul, I think that the Lightning saw something in him that wasn't seen before. And he goes into the playoffs, and he plays his heart out. He's been the hardest working player in the playoffs for the Lightning, no question. He's been out there grinding. His face-offs are nasty. He's always getting the puck back. He's always like flying down the ice to go get thrown into the board for no reason. I mean, he's all out.
He played so fast. These were my favorite four players that I saw was Hagel, Paul, Killorn, and Braden Point. They all four played incredibly fast. Didn't necessarily show up on the stat sheet, but those were the guys. Killer maybe only had 1 point in the whole first round, but he was always there grinding. It was incredible.
Well, and there's always those guys that are punching bags in the series. They take the hits. They take a lot of the frustration. And so what I noticed
did a lot of that.
Well, yeah, Corey Perry, and he's a veteran, so he knew if I sit away from the puck and I draw people to me, their frustration, their focus being put on me is going to take them away from a moment. And I think we'll talk about this later, but the goal, I think last night against the Panthers where Kuch was going to the goal, did this nasty move, and then fed it over to Perry.
Right. We'll cover that in the next video. We'll put the link in the description.
We'll cover that, but I think
the last thing that I wanted to ask you before we go is I want you, because you told me about it, because we're covering the Maple Leafs. What happened to Mitch Marner the other day?
Yo, this is wild. So Mitchie Boy himself was in Toronto on Sunday night, right? So this is the day after they got eliminated from the playoffs. And he's in Toronto, and he's in his car at he's like 10 minutes from the stadium.
Scotiabank.
And he gets robbed at gunpoint. 3 guys with masks come. 2 of them had guns. 1 of them had a knife. And they come and they try to take his car, but I guess that didn't end up working. But they robbed him, and I think he was with a buddy or a couple of buddies of his, and they got robbed at gunpoint. And my immediate response was obviously that's terrible for Mitch Marner. But then I was like, oh my gosh, can you imagine? You just got eliminated from the playoffs, and you're in your home
now
city.
This is what you're
next to the stadium, and they're like, yo, bet you won't lose a playoff series again. Give me your wallet. You know?
I don't know if it was intentional because of that, but it definitely.
Well, I don't think they knew it was him. I can imagine they may bring the money back. They don't even know. Say, Mitch, we're so sorry, man. Or he won't miss it. I mean, $11 million to not score a single goal in the most important game of your career. Hey, maybe it's too much money. But anyway, the Leafs are out again and again and again. It's a story with the Leafs. We don't feel bad at all. They were talking so much crap. Toronto was talking so much crap. The Lightning strikes back, and 2 games back-to-back. 6 was a key game, overtime win. Pointer with the little grinded into the goal, and then Nick Paul showing up to save the world in Game 7. And now we're on to the Panthers, and so that's been what it's like. First series. We're so happy to see the Lightning move on. We believe they have a shot at the Cup again.
Oh, yeah.
And so does Cooper, and with his cigar-smoking self. And, did you see that video?
I did.
He's sitting there smoking the cigar with the Stanley Cup right there, and he's
I
like,
sent it to you.
We're going for 3. I'm like, yeah. And if it doesn't send chills down your spine, you weren't at one of these games. But
yep, let's get 3, guys.
Anyway, let's get 3.
You know you can look me in the eye. It's all because of Jesus. He the reason I'm alive. I live by faith, by grace. You know that I ain't got to gotta strive. They told me tone it down.